राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ जयो गिरिवरधारी जयो गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ जयो गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारि यमुना तीरावनचारि राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा सुभद्रा माँ जय सुदर्शन जय गोपाल देव प्रभु गोपाल देव गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपद श्रीपद जय श्रीपद जय जय श्रीपद गुरुदेव जय गुरु महाराज श्री श्रीपाद की जय जय जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय संवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। So today we are continuing our Bhagavatam Seva. We are reading from the Bhagavatam 7th canto, first chapter, verse number 25. Right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishiki. So this is verse number 25. Yannibaddo vimano yam tadvadat praninam vada tatana yasya kaivalyad abhimano kilatmana parasya dhamma karturhi himsa kenasya kalpyate yannibaddo vimano yam tadvadat praninam vada tatana yasya kaivalyad abhimano kilatmana parasya dhamma karturhi himsa kenasya kalpyate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Because of the bodily conception of life, the conditioned soul thinks that when the body is annihilated, the living being is annihilated. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the Supreme Controller, the Super Soul of all living entities. Because He has no material body, He has no false conception of I and mine. It is therefore incorrect to think that He feels pleasure or pain when blasphemed or offered prayers. This is impossible for Him. Thus, He has no enemy and no friend. When He chastises the demons, it is for their good. And when He accepts the prayers of the devotees, it is also for their good. He is affected neither by prayers nor by blasphemy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Because of being covered by material bodies, the conditioned souls, including even greatly learned scholars and falsely educated professors, all think that as soon as the body is finished, everything is finished. This is due to their bodily conception of life. Krishna has no such bodily conception, nor is his body different from his self. Therefore, since Krishna has no material conception of life, how can he be affected by material prayers and accusations? Krishna's body is described herewith as Kaivalya, non-different from himself. Since everyone has a material bodily conception of life, if Krishna had such a conception, what would be the difference between Krishna and the conditioned soul? Krishna's instruction, the Bhagavad Gita, are accepted as final because he does not possess a material body. As soon as one has a material body, he has four deficiencies. But since Krishna does not possess a material body, he has no deficiencies. He is always spiritually conscious and blissful. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. The Brahma Samhita 5.1. His form is eternal, blissful knowledge. Satchidananda Vigraha, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, and Kaivalya are the same. Krishna can expand himself as Paramatma in the core of everyone's heart. In the Bhagavad Gita 13.3, this is confirmed. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Sama kshetreshu. Should be sarva kshetreshu bharata. The Lord is the Paramatma, the Atma or super self of all individual souls. Therefore, it must naturally be concluded that he has no defective bodily conceptions. Although situated in everyone's body, he has no bodily conception of life. He is always free from such conceptions, and thus he cannot be affected by anything in relation to the material body of the jiva. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 16.19, Tanaham dvishatah kruran sansareshu naradhaman kshipam ajashram ashubhan asurisheva yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, those who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Whenever the Lord punishes persons like demons, however, such punishment is meant for the good of the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul, being envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may accuse him, saying, Krishna is bad, Krishna is a thief, and so on. But Krishna, being kind to all living entities, does not consider such accusations. Instead, he takes account of the conditioned soul's chanting of Krishna, Krishna so many times. He sometimes punishes as demons for one life by putting them in a lower species. But then, when they have stopped accusing him, they are liberated in the next life because of chanting Krishna's name constantly. Blaspheming the Supreme Lord or his devotee is not at all good for the conditioned soul, but Krishna, being very kind, punishes the conditioned soul in one life for such sinful activities and then takes him back home, back to Godhead. The vivid example for this is Vritrasura, who was formerly Chitraketu Maharaj, a great devotee. Because he derided Lord Shiva, the foremost of all devotees, he had to accept the body of a demon called Vritra. But then he was taken back to Godhead. Thus, when Krishna punishes a demon or conditioned soul, he stops that soul's habit of blaspheming him. And when the soul becomes completely pure, the Lord takes him back to Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishwabhadaya Krishna Prashaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Saruptamodar Swaminiti Namini Nama Sadbhaktamanaye Manipur Udbhavaya Cha Prabhupada Satvani Prachara Niratayate Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatari Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vancha Kalpatarurvyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamana Tam Namami Harim Param Sansara Sagare Magnam Deenam Mam Karunanide Karmagrahya Grihitangam Mam Uddhara Bhavarnava Srimad Bhagavatam Pratyaksha Krishna Evahi Svikritosi Mayanata Mukhyartam Bhavasagar. So this verse in the Bhagavatam speaking that conditioned soul, because of this bodily conception, is thinking that everything is finished when the body is finished. And doesn't matter that person is, very great scholar or well versed in the Vedas. But so long as this consciousness is not purified from this bodily conception, and he comes back to his original state of consciousness, which is called Krishna consciousness, until he comes to that thing after purification, one has to come and keep wandering around in this material. There are these two nice verses in the Bhagavatam where it is saying, yeah, Nunam Pramatta Kurute. This is in the 5th canto where Lord Rishabdev is instructing his 100 sons. Nunam Pramatta Kurute Vikarma Yadindriya Pritaya Aprinot. Sadhu Manye Yata Atmanoyam Asanapi Kleshada Asade. And then he is saying, Parabhavas Tavad Abodha Jato Yavan Na Jigyasata Atmatattvam. Yavat Kriyas Tavad Idam Manovai Karmatmakam Yena Sharirabhat. Saying people, conditioned souls, they are very much mad after sense gratification. Pramatta. Mattam Pramattam. Prakrishta Rupena Matta. The mind is so much, how do you say, completely involved in this sense enjoyment, and they do not know, that this present body, which is full of miseries, is simply because of the result of these activities they have done in the past. And though this body is temporary, it is giving so much klesha, so much problems in so many different ways. Therefore, if one is going to again act for sense gratification, that is not good. And he's saying that, parabhavas tavad abhodajata, as long as, one doesn't make an inquiry about his real identity, atma tattvam, no jigyasata atma tattvam. He doesn't do this jigyasa. Who am I? What is my real identity? Then he is considered a failure. All the things he is doing is defeat. So, and as long as he doesn't know what his real identity is, he thinks that I'm the body, this bodily conception, this bodily misconception actually, then he has to work for fruitful results by doing so much sense gratification. And then, this consciousness is completely engrossed in sense gratification. And because of that, he has to transmigrate from one body to another, simply keeping changing body. So till one comes to the point of this developing this, at least the basic concept of the love of devotional service, these devotional principles, unless one comes to the point of that, this vicious cycle will keep on going. It is a never-ending cycle. So long as one is not inclined to purify oneself of this bodily conception of life, this cycle will just continue. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. This will go on. And then this another very nice verse is there in the Bhagavatam, where it is saying that this is in the 10th canto. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke swadhi khalatradishu bhauma ijyati tirtha buddhi shalile na karhichit janesh abhigyeshu sa eva go khara. Translation goes like this. One who identifies himself as the inert body composed of these three elements, mucus, bile, and air, who assumes that his wife and family are permanently his own, one who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage simply as water there, but never identifies himself with, or he feels kinship with, or worships, or even visits those who are wise in the spiritual truth, such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. He's simply an animal. That's what they're saying. And in the purport, our devotees are saying, true intelligence is shown by one's freedom from false identification of the self. And then they are quoting from the Brihaspati Samhita, where it is saying, Agyata Bhagavad Dharma Mantra Vijnana Sambidaha Naraste Gokhara Geya Api Bhupala Vandita. Bhupala means the world leaders. So these world leaders, very exalted world leaders, they are glorifying such a person. Why? Because he is mantra vijnana sambhida. He is very expert in the science of all the Vedic mantras, and very nicely he can analyze it. Very, technically analyzing all these Vedic mantras, they are very, very expert. And they are so much adored by these world leaders because of that. But if they do not know this Bhagavad Dharma, they do not know who they are, who the Supreme Lord is, or what their relationship with the Lord is, if they do not know this Bhagavata principle, then they should be known as cows and asses. They are simply cows and asses. They are simply animals. My friends, my veterinary friends, they have all come for training here in Chennai, close by in T Nagar, where we had our old ISKCON temple. They're having a get together in a 5-star hotel in T Nagar. And they called me. One of them, Bhagavati, he's a classmate in the AB batch. He called me up and he said, Venu, we are having this kind of get together. There'll be 40, 50 of us. You can meet all your old friends. And then 10 of us or 20 of us have come for training, but others also will be coming there. Will you please come? So I'm kind of hesitating, because these are the boys who I saw 20 years back, and now they're all grown up, they're all in different positions, and they're bringing all their family and friends with them, So, I mean, it's good. It's not just 40, 50 people. There'll be the wives, the children, and then he also said, we have a vegetarian section and we have a non-vegetarian section. And, usually what happens at such parties, you'll have to figure out, all kind of, we have all kind of liquids there. So, I'm hesitating. Sometimes, we are seeing this whole huge wide world around us, all these names and forms, so very bewildering. And, sometimes you think you're this, you think, I'm their friend and I should go as a friend. And then, the other thing will come, no, you're a sadhu, you're in a sadhu vesh, you have to maintain your position. And then, sometimes this concept comes, maybe I'm a doctor, I'm a veterinarian, maybe I should go there, I should see them. So we are wandering in this world thinking like this, sometimes I'm this, sometimes I'm that, and, and sometimes you wonder whether you're this or you're that. This is how the whole life is going about. But anyway, I'm planning to go there so that I can give them some Guru Maharaj books. And most of those boys have already given them a Bhagavad Gita and a set of books. But maybe this is another opportunity to talk to them. If they will let me speak. Otherwise, I'll just go say hi, hello, and I come back. So this material world where we live in is like that. This is not a place fit for any person to stay. We come here for a short while. We are locked in this body, and all the while we are in this material body, we are having this big fight with Maya. Material existence means, the person, Darwin has said very nicely, it's a struggle for existence. Actually, we're simply struggling to survive. That part of his theory, his evolutionary theory is very correct. All of us, we simply struggle to stay alive. Because we identify with the body, we think if the body is finished, I am finished. So everybody is scared that, nothing happens to the body. Everybody is scared. And this fight with Maya is going on like this, many different bodies. Since time immemorial, we have been doing the same thing. All simply because our consciousness is not there. And fighting with Maya is not an ordinary task, actually. Maya, like Krishna has unlimited potencies, right? But Maya has these two main potencies. It's called Prakshitatmika and Avarnatmika. Prakshitatmika means she throws that soul into the material world, into this material existence, simply because that person becomes jealous of the Supreme Lord. That's all. And then after throwing in, she completely covers his knowledge. This avarna. Avarna means covering, avarnatmika shakti. She covers that person's true knowledge. And so the soul identifies with this material body, which is temporary, miserable, and perishable. And the Bhagavatam is saying, this conception you can only purify by resorting to the devotional service of God. Even if you're trying with all your knowledge by reading all these Vedic scriptures, still this is not something that is about to happen. How to purify this thing? This purification happens when you're serving the pure devotees of the Lord, by the combined blessings of the devotees, the Vaishnavas, whose representative you accept as a guru, and by the mercy of the Lord, then one comes to that purification state. So this whole Krishna conscious process is actually meant for purification. There is nothing more there. Whatever we are doing, this chanting is Chetodarpana Marjanam. It is purification. Whatever service we are doing, whether we are studying the Bhagavad Gita, we are giving classes on the absolute truth, scientifically or otherwise, the whole idea is to purify this mind, this consciousness, this intelligence, so that somehow or other we can be engaged in our real position as a real servant. These things are not very easy, actually. These things are not very easy. Why? Because even after coming into spiritual life, let's say that somehow or other you think, you understand to some level that this body is very miserable and, let me get out. I'm not comfortable in this body of mine. It is causing me so many problems. All these relatives are causing me so many problems. You still try to get out and you're entering into spiritual life. And even in spiritual life, there are so many people who can misdirect. When somebody tries to come into a spiritual thing, even there are so many people who will present you 1,000 philosophies, saying this is right, that is right, you follow this, my way is right. And specifically, Prabhupada was very concerned about this Mayavad philosophy. And here, it is written that there is a very prominent Mayavadi scholar after like Shankaracharya, whose name is Sadananda Yogendra. And he has written a book called Vedanta Sara, the essence of Vedanta. Vedanta is already the essence of the Vedas, but he has written even on the Vedanta, he is compiling the essence of the Vedanta. So you understand, how scholarly, how intelligent that person is. And he is speaking about this philosophy of Shankaracharya and the followers of Shankaracharya. So what he is saying is that Brahman is Sachidananda. It's combined with knowledge and without duality. And he defines ignorance, this ignorance. Ignorance means this bodily concept, jada, that is a word used, ignorance or jada, as knowledge distinct from that of sat and asat. So you know what is sat, you know what is asat, that is knowledge. But anything beyond that knowledge, whatever other knowledge is there beyond the sat asat thing, that is ignorance. So ignorance is also being defined as a particular kind of knowledge. It's irony. You say ignorance means they have no knowledge, right? But knowledge of Sat and Asat, ignorance means something we removed from this Sat Asat knowledge. That kind of knowledge is called as ignorance here, according to. So, and it is written that this is also inconceivable. We cannot think something like that also, even that. And this inconceivable ignorance happens because of the three material qualities, the modes of nature, Maya Shakti. And this person, this Sadananda, he is considering anything other than pure knowledge to be material. And the center of ignorance is considered to be sometimes all-pervading and sometimes individual. See, even ignorance he is attributing not just to an individual, sometimes it is all-pervading. Ignorance is everywhere, he is saying. All these heavy statements. Because all the followers of Shankaracharya, the Mayavadis, they adhere to this person. They give him so much value. Vyasdev has written Vedanta, and he is giving the essence of Vedanta, the Vedanta Sara. So you can understand. So according to this person's opinion, the all-pervading Lord Vishnu and the individual living entities are all products of ignorance. You see. Word juggler. So simple language, everything is Nirakara, formless. And this conception of Vishnu, the conception of individual soul, they are all products of ignorance, The knowledge, when it is contaminated by Vishuddha Sattva, this is what he's saying. When the knowledge is contaminated by Vishuddha Sattva, then you develop this conception of God, you develop the conception of soul. So you see, when even you come into spiritual platform, there are people who can utterly confuse you like this. So this getting away from this material conception of life is very, very difficult task actually. It's very, very difficult thing. We are all suffering simply because of this one thing. It's one very predominant feature. Because our real knowledge is covered, and because we identify falsely with something, so because of that, everything, the suffering is expanding unlimited. And the word used is Maya apaharita gyan. Maya has nicely covered the knowledge. And Krishna is saying, Maya adhyakshena prakriti. This prakriti, this Maya is my energy. And she's working under my adhyaksha, my control. So mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam saranti. So unless you come and surrender to Krishna, unless you become a devotee of the Lord, you're not going to become free from this conception. You can try. You can try reading all the scriptures. You can visit all the holy places. You can take dip in all the tirthas. You can do unlimited amounts of charity, unlimited austerities. None of this is going to work unless you come to the point of surrendering to the Lord. And Lord means you surrender in the parampara to a pure representative of the Lord. And then Krishna becomes favorable. But you see, the Lord in all conditions, he's actually immune, because he's situated entirely on the spiritual platform. He's never in duality. This is a beautiful thing. That's why that word Kaivalya is used. Kevalam, just one thing. Kaivalya Pataye Namaha. Kunti Maharani is also praying. Kaivalya means just one. There's one spiritual substance. That is all. There is nothing else. There is no Dvaita. There is no Dvanda there. Sarvam idam kal Brahman. They say everything is Brahma Vastu. Everything is Krishna and Krishna's energy. So for the Lord, there is no question of duality. So even though somebody can approach him with, some kind of false accusation that you are bad, or somebody is glorifying him to high heaven that, you are everything. Once Birbal, he went and he praised Akbar, this Mughal king, emperor, Badshah, Shahenshah, you are even greater than God. You see the thing. And then Akbar was, how dare you say something like that? Allah be praised. You cannot speak like that. How can I be greater than God? And then Birbal says, Badshah, God cannot chase anybody out from his kingdom. But you are so powerful, you can do that. So you're definitely greater than God. He was joking. So you see, Krishna is unlimited and everything, spirituality is all accommodating principle. And unless one comes to that platform of accepting Krishna as everything, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, otherwise Bahunam Janmanamant, you keep on taking birth after birth, simply to remove this conception that I am everything. I and mine, I am everything or everything is mine. Aham mameti, janasya mohoyam, aham mameti. Till you come to that point, one has to keep on taking birth after birth. That's why yesterday when Maharaj was giving this class, I was writing jokingly, Lord is eternal, we are eternal. This condition existence is also going on eternally. Maybe sometimes there is creation and sometimes, but Maya is eternal. She's there always. And so many living entities have been praising the Lord, and so many living entities are saying bad criticisms about the Lord. The Lord must have become immune to that, hearing this from eternal time. For so long, Krishna has been hearing this, But the thing is that when somebody does it with heartfelt emotion, deep inside, the Lord knows that. And somebody is doing it with a very deep feeling from the heart, when he's really crying out, because the Lord is a responsible father and he's kind, he's Karuna Nidhi, he's an ocean of kindness. So then the Lord responds. And he doesn't need to respond. He's totally independent, but still he goes out of his way to chastise that person, or he goes out of his way to rescue that person, or, to put that person in a proper situation where he can go back home. This is impartiality at the absolute level. He doesn't have to do it. When we do something, we are like forced to do it. Oh, he's my friend, I have to do that. Otherwise, there'll be consequences. But for Krishna, there is nothing that can, cause that kind of situation. He has no need for anything. He doesn't have to go somebody to beg. I want this, I want that. That is not that. Everything the Lord can produce by Himself. He's fully self-independent. So for such a person, where is this question of that? I have to cater to his needs, or I have to, listen to him. Nothing is needed. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Swabhaviki, automatically the Lord's energies are working so very nicely. Jnana, bala, kriya cha, all these. This knowledge is there, the strength is there, the power is there, and kriya, all the activities are going on. Very naturally it is going on. So there is no requirement that the Lord has to, listen to somebody's prayers or listen to somebody's accusations. So whatever He is doing, Prabhupada is saying, it is for the good of the conditioned soul. Somehow to bring that conditioned soul from this misconception to the proper conception. All these things are there. The bodily conception, the Atma conception, the Paramatma conception, the Bhagavan conception, all these things are there. So when the soul is properly, by the blessings of the Guru and the Parampara, with all the Acharyas in the Parampara, when the soul is guided in that proper direction, then there is a chance to purify this polluted consciousness. And one can come to the original state of Krishna consciousness. That's why Guru Maharaj was saying the science of Krishna consciousness is the topmost science, because it gives you knowledge of the self. It at least tells you who you are. Because if you don't even know who you are, it's like a madman. Whatever activities you do is like a foolish thing, because you don't know who you are. The whole purpose of your activities, your speaking, your talking, your walking, everything is defeated if you don't know who you are. Na yavan na jigyasata atma tattva. So at least this inquiry must be there. Brahma jigyasa. Am I something beyond these material elements, or am I like all these scientists and scholars are saying, I'm simply a product of time and space? Am I something, the material combination of some molecules? What am I actually? This is like fundamental questions. These are the fundamental questions of existence. So till one comes to that point of doing this, it's not possible to make progress in spiritual life. And I think I'll stop here. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Are there any questions, any comments, any suggestions? Please go ahead. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for this nice class. Yeah. If anyone is having any question regarding today's class, they can raise their hand and ask His Grace Madan Manana. Nirmala Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Nirmala Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So my question is like, in this question I have so many times. I'm not like, if of course Lord is self-sufficient, He can do anything He wants. I don't have that doubt, but I don't know like, then what is the use of our existence? Like, if Lord doesn't need anything from us, why we are there at all? What is the use of our existence?
Yeah, I understand
if
your
boss
question.
doesn't need anything from us,
That's what I used, when I was in the early stages, I used to ask the same thing, if the Lord doesn't want the people to become, polluted like this, the consciousness go down, why in the hell He has to create Maya in the first place? What was the necessity there? If you're showing Maya, then naturally the living entity, some of them, they want to go to that side, right? So if there is no Maya, There is no question of falling down into the material world. Everything is spiritual. Everything is nice. Why did he do this? So see, this is the thing. We desire some things like that. That is there. That is one thing there. And the other thing is that because we are part and parcel of the Lord, we are eternal. Eternal means these things are there like that. See, Sanatan, that is a word used. Sanatan means no beginning, no end. When you ask questions like, why we exist, means you are talking about like why the Lord produced us or something like that. But the Lord is also there. We are also there eternally. You understand what I'm trying to say? Neil Madhav. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Because we have this material conception. We think existence means we are coming into existence at a point. It is not like that. We are always there. The Lord is always there. We are always there.
My question was little bit. Actually, probably my question is not about this why we are in Maya or not. I'm not asking that question. I'm asking like if, for example, if boss doesn't need anything in company, then what is the use of the employees? That's what my question is. Like,
that is what I'm saying.
If
the
boss can do anything.
Yeah, the boss is always there. The employees are always there. This is what eternal religion means. We are always there. There is no question that that the boss has hired some employees to come and work for him. The employees are always there. This is a spiritual conception. The material conception, the boss opens a company and then he hires some employees because he needs them to do his job. But in the spiritual conception, it is not like that. The boss is always there. The employees are always there. The Lord is not opening some company and hiring those people, the jivas. You come, you have to work for me here in the material world or in the spiritual world. No, they are always existing, eternal. Like the Lord is always there. They are there. So it's very difficult to wrap our minds around because we always think from a material viewpoint. Our mind is colored like that. You think I've just come here, so I have to get a job, I have to do this like that. But we are always existing. This is what the spiritual conception is.
I will make my question little bit specific then.
Okay.
Because it's becoming so general. Like so the thing is like, see, of course we are eternal servants service. So if Jagannath doesn't, if Jagannath can do anything for himself, then what is the use of our service? That's what I am asking. Like,
so okay, you are doing the service for your
if
good.
he only can expand and
The Lord wants to enjoy through you. If the Lord wants to eat, they is saying the Lord eats through the mouth of devotees. If the Lord wants to execute some activities, He is doing through the medium of through the medium of a devotee. Prabhupada was saying, Mahaprabhu could have come and delivered the whole world, but he left the job for me. So I have to go village, and I have to preach His holy name. You please chant. It's a fact. The Lord can do everything. We are not required. Krishna, he could have practically destroyed that whole thing. What Krishna? Why you bring God into the picture? In Mahabharat war, the Lord, the agents of the Lord, Maya could have just wiped out the whole army in seconds, fraction of a second. Why Krishna was there, doing as a charioteer? He was asking Arjuna, you become my instrument, you become glorious. The Lord wants to glorify His devotees. So He is giving them that opportunity. That's all. There's no need there otherwise. And when we do it, we become a proper instrument of the Lord and we develop full satisfaction. Otherwise, we will never be satisfied. That is the main thing. Yenatma suprasidati. Su means very nicely, good. Prasidati means satisfied. Champrasidati, or nicely, completely. If you want to be satisfied in a very nice way, then we have to do this. If you don't do this, we are not going to be happy. We will never be satisfied. You'll always feel that big hole, something is missing. I have to put there something and fill up that hole. My existence, something is always missing. But when you come to this act of serving the Lord, these things, Is it okay, or I don't know, because my understanding
No,
of your
I think
question. Yeah.
no problem, Prabhuji. I think I have to purify myself more to understand answer. Hare Krishna.
All of us, we have to purify ourselves more. That is the thing.
Hare Krishna.
So we have
No, because that same argument goes also like in in Tattva, spiritual master also doesn't require us, but still
Yeah.
we uh, we we have to do we will do anyway service. So, but it's like why I'm not able to adjust this. It's like tell your service as don't have any value. It's like that. So that I'm unable to adjust. Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay. You're worried that, if I don't, whether I do or I don't do, that, the spiritual master is not affected by that. So does my service have any value? No, there is value. There is value for you. You do the right thing, you have value for you. There is value there. You are doing all these things. You say to please the spiritual master, but actually we are all selfish beings. We are doing this for ourselves, actually, so that we will feel right, doing the right thing. But when you come to the higher stage, when you're purified, then you're working exclusively for the satisfaction of Krishna and Guru. Until that point, this purificatory point, whatever you do, you're doing for yourself. You say, I'm doing it for my Guru, but the whole idea is that if I do this, my Guru Maharaj will come and pat me on the back and say, oh, Neel Madhav, you have done a wonderful job. And then you will feel happy. The idea is you want happiness. The idea is not that my Guru Maharaj will be pleased. That comes as a secondary thing. But when you are purified and you come to the pure spiritual platform, then you will understand. Oh, my Guru Maharaj is really happy now. No, I'm whatever I'm doing, I will take any pain so that I can make my spiritual master and Krishna happy. Anything for the Lord. It's a very high stage, actually. Yeah. Okay, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Next.
thank you, Nirmala Prabhu. We have something from our Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavad Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Madan Manoharai Namah. Well, it's a apparent good question by our Neel Madhav, but we have to address the full nature of Krishna. It's just one aspect. Just because Krishna says I'm self-satisfied or Atmaram. Anyway, that comment later. But I have one question. I want your. You brought this conception of Mayavad. So, can you establish that Mayavad is unauthorized? Because one angle is because they have no authority. Authority means the person.
Yeah.
Their conception of supreme is not a person. So authority means a person.
Yeah.
You want to expand a little bit on that? How somebody can just remind them that you are unauthorized? Because when Krishna establishes himself as the supreme authority and the source of everything, they think something exists beyond Krishna who is the source of Krishna. This is ludicrous. And so they become like self-acclaimed authority of their nonsense or their misconceptions.
So these two arguments they were giving, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, they say. Brahma Satyam means everything is Brahman. Sarvam idam kal Brahman, aham Brahmasmi means you are Brahman, I am Brahman. So now the argument is, if you are Brahman and I am Brahman, why are you coming and preaching to me? Now what is the necessity? Now that question comes. So it means that they think that, they are something better off. They are some kind of authority, and they have the right to come and preach to me. Although they are also Brahman, I am also Brahman, right? They are Brahma Vastu. He's saying Aham Brahmasmi, Narayana. What is that? Om Namo Narayana. That's how they address each other. You're Narayan, I'm Narayan. So since both are Narayan, why are you coming and preaching a philosophy to me? So this is one thing. And the other main thing is that this Nirakara, everything they are dealing with in the world has a particular form. Even the light, which is apparently formless, it has a source, and that source has a form. So as soon as you say, formless, that these are all because of contamination by the three modes of nature, everything is formless, they are completely making a huge mistake on this particular aspect of reality. We say formless, something is less. So their view of reality is less, it's not more. Rather, the positive aspect, you see, the Lord must have more forms, not formless. And I don't know who was that. It was Einstein or somebody who was giving this example. In the class, there was this very nice message was sent. This is some kind of discussion going on, but ultimately the point was that if everything is formless, why are we existing? The same thing comes. So this formless state, from formless, you are getting form. So even the formless state thinks that having a form is better than being formless. It's improvement. They think like that. And he was giving the example of light, where light, you can make it more light, you can make it less light. But darkness is absence of light, actually. You cannot make the darkness more dark or less dark. Only the light, you can make it more light and less light. So there has to be a positive conception, and from that, you can derive the absence of this is that. Otherwise, this darkness doesn't have an independent existence. It depends on light. Where there is no light, you call it darkness. So where there is no form, then you call that formless, which means that they are not able to conceive of this form. They prefer to be in the formless state so that they don't have to deal with anything. It's a kind of escapism. They're trying to escape from the duality by removing the form part. Like these Buddhists, they want to make everything zero. If everything is zero, you don't have to worry about anything. So if there are no forms, you don't have to deal with all these people and their authorities, right? So this is in a sense because of this fear of spiritual identity that they try to remove that material form. So these two aspects are there. But Maharaj, you can please add something. You definitely must add something.
Well, however greatly you glorify Krishna, it's amazing. It's most unfortunate that they end up justifying, humanizing Krishna. Krishna is anything but human. Just because he appears as a human, but how much he stands out. That's why he's a supreme human. If you want to call him a human, he's a supreme human, and he totally stands out. Although he appears as human, but he's anything but human. He's suprahuman. Ati marjani. Human means subject to death. He's not subject to death. So that kind of human is unimaginable, even in Quran or in this concept of impersonal. For them, God or Allah cannot be human. I say, yeah, he cannot be, but he can appear as human. He's not human. He's supreme. He's suprahuman. That's why nobody ever can remotely even match with Krishna. So that this is how this disease of humanizing Krishna causes their greatest misfortune. And but coming back to our Nil Madhav question, it is a general thing, that Krishna is self-sufficient in himself, but Krishna is the most insufficient person. his lila. He's always asking for more. He's always his proclivities and his freaking tendencies and many things, teasing and all these things. So although in some manifestation God is quiet, like Brahma Paramatma sitting in the heart, but in his original manifestation, he's anything but
Quiet.
yeah, quiet. Static Ma, Nil Madhav, one title I want to give you. Static Ma, ecstatic Bhava. You know? So Krishna is anything but static, he's ever ecstatic. So one thing has to be realized, that that Krishna is self-satisfied in one sense, that is also truly right, but simultaneously the other way around is also true about it. He is simultaneously self-satisfied and not at all satisfied. He is always hankering for more. And that is where Krishna, there is Ananda in his Swarupa, Swarupananda. There are three kinds of pleasures Krishna relishes. Swarupananda, if Swarupananda was sufficient, then he wouldn't do anything. He will remain just become like static, right? Static statue.
Good.
Because he is self-satisfied. But that is not a complete description. The second pleasure Krishna gets from Swarup Shakti Ananda. Krishna Swarup Shakti, Ladini Sandhin Sambit, they in cooperation, they're always endeavoring to enhance the joy of Krishna. They don't say, oh, Krishna is self-satisfied. Why to do anything? It's just like a wife or a dedicated wife. Even if the husband say, okay, I don't need anything from you, just you go away or stay away. Does she go away? So she's looking for every opportunity to do something, because husband might say, okay, I don't need you, just but she doesn't go. Every opportunity. So Swarup Shakti Ananda, Krishna's eternal potencies, and even this Maya Shakti, she's serving Krishna's will. How Maya Shakti serves? Maya creates tremendous, establishes the sense gratification for the conditioned souls. So we are created, even if we say we are not created, but we are part of Krishna, and as conditioned souls we are part of Krishna. And Krishna is creating this lila and pastimes and manifesting this world to give the opportunity to living entity to become pure devotee. That is, so third Anand Krishna has Bhakti Anand.
Okay.
So Krishna is incessantly, his Srishti Lila will continue, because innumerable number of Baddha Jivas and Krishna himself establishes Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhe. Very slow process of becoming pure devotee. Krishna says, Kaschin Mam Vedi, koi hi mujhe janta hai. Very rare person. So Krishna is will have unlimited, for eternity, he will have always some Baddha Jivas becoming pure devotees, and every pure devotee has a very specific rasa in the heart, hankering for Krishna, attraction for Krishna, love for Krishna, and Krishna relishes that. So this Bhakti-ananda, this is ever going to be increasing, and ultimately Krishna does anything for his own pleasure, correct? Because he doesn't do anything purposelessly. So even we are existing as conditioned soul, so that we become pure devotees, and Krishna expects that pure flavor of our pure devotional sentiments. So that agenda of Krishna continues through this creation. So Nil Madhav Prabhu's question is that what is the need for us? Krishna has greater need for us than we have for Krishna. You know? And actually, to attain Krishna is the easiest thing, because Krishna is more eager to have us as pure devotees than we ever thought since eternity. But we don't have to procrastinate for eternity. This is our best opportunity moment. So the whole idea is, when we find out that Krishna has ever been more eager to have us as pure devotee, but only we have declined. So our declining is fall down. Not that we have accepted Krishna, then we left him. That is ludicrous, another ludicrous misconception. So the whole basic purpose of this whole creation manifestation is serving Krishna's cause, and Krishna is unfailingly continuing his agenda. Only us living entities will exhaust our strong determination not to follow him. Eventually, we will fall trap. We will fall into his trap and becoming pure devotees. Sooner the better. Correct.
So I was remembering this. Brajati iti braja. Brajati means it is always in constant motion. Even this conception of braja, this spiritual world, Brajati means it is always moving. So there is activity everywhere. Maharaj was explaining very nicely. How this kind of activity is pleasing the Lord. Otherwise, everything will be in a suspended state. Nothing will be going on. I'm satisfied means I don't have to do anything. I'll just sit quietly. That doesn't work. There has to be activity.
One more thing, unless when we do believe, believing is not enough. We have to have conviction. We believe that if we take one step, Krishna takes 100 steps. So majority work is done by Krishna. We do hardly anything. We do the littlest. So when we realize that Krishna really moves 1,000 steps towards us, how can we not cooperate? If somebody tells you, Prabhu, you invest 1 rupee and I will co-invest $1 million in your account. You know, who would not, be super excited? So we have to be super excited, but we have to have the conviction that Krishna moves 1,000 steps. You know, but conviction is missing. Looks like, and that's why our culture and our association, everything just goes nicely. Yes, have faith, but the conviction has to be earned. You know, some realization has to strike into our system. Then we realize that, wow, someone we should approach has been ever much more interested in us. Only we have not prepared for him. So then our preparation will shoot, our motivation, our impetus, our vigor, everything will become one-pointed. Because someone who we were supposed to search out, he's so much eager for us. Just study this Bhagavatam, how Krishna has been eternally eager to receive Gop Kumar. It's not that Gop Kumar left Krishna and he's like, oh, you came my. He's eternally, since long time, he's eternal. And he's feeling like as if a lost friend. You know, there's a comparison given, you know, but we don't take comparison literally. Comparison is just to describe the feeling of Krishna. When Krishna meets Abadha Jiva as pure devotees, he says, oh, how long you have just denied my expectation, or ignored my expectation. So Krishna has been since eternity expecting us to become pure devotees, and he's still waiting on us since eternity, for eternity, without failing, never quitting on us. So only we will exhaust trying to quit on him. One day we will be caught. Sooner the better.
I was reading that when he hugged Gopakumar, Krishna fainted actually in ecstasy. he was so happy to see his friend. Out of ecstasy, the Lord fainted actually. Thank you, Maharaj. Krishna. I don't know. There are 3-4 hands raised.
Please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your very wonderful contact class. I'm no hesitation to say that this is probably one of your best classes that I have got. Very, very absorbing indeed. And with a lot of, with so much thinking, with a lot of strong points. have one fundamental question. What we try to understand.
Prabhuji, your voice is little not very clear. Huh? Can you like open up the
Better
volume? Or... better now. Yeah.
Let me just go to some other. Okay, is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was actually going to ask you this. On one hand, we understand that Krishna says that he is not friendly with anyone or not having enmity with anyone. It is from the eternity point of view. I mean, not in the bodily concept. Only in the bodily concept it kind of exists. But in the eternity concept, Krishna does not have any so-called friends or enemy. Am I correct?
Yeah, bro.
That in the eternity form, Krishna enjoys, 5 different rasas, like, Shanta rasa, Dasa rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, and also Madhurya rasa. With each rasa being, more relishful for him than the previous one. So how do we understand this? Because in the eternity there is already a Sakya rasa, there is friendly is already existing. So how do we sort of understand this? On one hand, in the eternity there is no friendship, there is no enmity, but at the same time, we know that he has got friends in the eternity form also.
Okay. Prabhuji is asking a very probing question. See, these different rasas are different actually mental states or the bhavas that the jiva is expressing. For the Lord, everything is his, right? So if everything is mine, unless you think that something is, other person's, there is no question of this thing. If it is another person's, then I can treat it little differently. This question of friendship and enmity and all these things comes when you identify something as different from yours. But for Krishna, everything is his. So if everything is his, there is no question of, something being his enemy or something being his thing. Maybe whatever is his, these children, they are behaving in different ways. And Krishna, if they're behaving in too much wrong way, then the Lord tries to correct that propensity. But the beauty in spirituality is that it accommodates everything, actually. It accommodates all these things. And these 5 rasas are primary. There are other rasas like, Bibhasta, Ghora, Bhayanaka, and, like that. Hasya. Comedy is also a rasa. But these 5 are the main ones. And most of these dealings or the relationships, they are predominantly based on, these 12 rasas and the 5 in particular, the top 5. Shanta rasa, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya rasa. So spirituality has to accommodate. This is the meaning of unlimited. Unlimited. Lord means, everything must find a scope in that. So on one side, this question seems right, but on the other side, it's like this person asked Prabhupada, can Krishna, create, because the Lord can do everything, whatever even is impossible. So can Krishna create a mountain that he cannot lift? This was a question asked. Because he lifted Giriraj, at that time that was like the biggest mountain, 80 miles high. So can the Lord create something that he cannot lift? And Prabhupada said yes. And then he said, then he will lift it. So at one time it is contradictory, and at the same time, because this is how the Lord is. They say Krishna knows everything. But in the Shastras it is saying Krishna actually doesn't know everything. Because his energies, the potencies are expanding so much. Krishna knows this much, then the energies expand, and then Krishna has to know all that. And then again it expands, and again he has to know all that. It is never-ending story. It is going on like that. So like that, all these conceptions in spirituality, it is inconceivable for us, but, they can be accommodated. They can be accommodated. I don't know if this is satisfying, Prabhu. Maybe Maharaj or somebody can share.
I was thinking, should we understand it this way, that when it comes to jivas in the conditioned state, Krishna is unbiased. I mean, Krishna, everybody, all the living entities are equal. So therefore, he has no friends or, enemies. But when it comes to the spiritual world, there he is actually enjoying these 5 relationships. And so there actually Sakya Bhava or the friendliness is there. And he enjoys that. So it's only in the material realm that, Krishna does not show the bias. I mean, bias in the sense with regards to all are equal to him. So, but whereas the moment you part of spiritual world, these 5 rasas are existing and he wants to enjoy those 5 rasas there.
No, that doesn't work like that, because see, for Krishna, everything is the spiritual world, everything is this energy. But for us, we have this conception, false conception, that there is no Krishna there. So immediately we have this material world, this is how it works. So for Krishna, whether he is in the spiritual world or here, he is dealing with everybody impartially. It's not that, because somebody, it looks like he's actually favoring those who are there in the spiritual world to those who are there compared to those who are in the material world, but it is not like that, because for him, everything is spiritual. For him, everything is, the same thing. Like for a technician, everything is electricity. But for us, we see this electricity is creating something hot, is creating something cold, depending on the usage. So because our mind has been contaminated, we are thinking like that. Everything is different, like that. I don't think the Lord is like, it apparently looks like partiality, but it is not like that. It's not like that. The Lord is equal to everyone, everywhere. When he's saying Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, when he says Sarva Bhuteshu, he's not specially mentioning I'm only Samo to all the liberated Bhuteshu, and all the Nitya Mukta Jivas and Nitya Baddha Jivas. Sarva Bhuteshu, all the living entities, whether they are liberated or he is equal everywhere. We cannot distinguish like that. This is my understanding, Prabhuji. I don't know. I mean, maybe Maharajas can shed more light on that.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit of explanation is required on this point, that on one hand, Krishna is not, he's not having any friends or enemies, yet we know that he has, Sakya Bhav is there. So just, little bit of understanding on how to understand this, little bit more is required. So if anybody can just, throw some light on this, it will be very useful, because this verse is also, we are, discussing about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Roji. Maybe some other time, because we
Okay,
have
Prabhu.
crossed 10 minutes of the schedule.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Madan Prabhu, maybe we can conclude.
You can conclude, huh? Jai. Guru Maharaj Srila Sripad ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. B.A. Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Hare Krishna. Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Madan Manohar Prabhu ki jai. Thank you all for
Sripad
joining.
Maharaj.
See you all in tomorrow's class. Hare Krishna.